Hi, Sakshi on this side, and this is the fifth part of the video. Alright. And in this video, we're gonna see how Iago was, laying his plans and all very, very effectively. He had done all the things that he had thought or planned. Okay, so just see this line. It happened that Othello and Iago had entered into the room where Desdemona was just as Cassio, who had been imploring her intercession. Okay, so here what happens suddenly when Cassio was over there with Desdemona and he was just, imploring her intercession. Imploring in the sense requesting. Imploring, requesting. Intercession means mercy. He was just, begging for his mercy from Lady Desdemona, and he was also convincing Desdemona to go to Othello and to request him. Alright, so just like while this were happening, while the situation was there, suddenly Iago and Othello entered the room. And what happened? Cassio was departing at the opposite door. Departing at the opposite door in the sense he had just left the room from the opposite door, from the different door. And Iago, who was full of art, said in a low voice, as if to himself, I like not that. I like not that. Why? Because he's just working over here. That he has not actually liked the situation that he has observed. Here, Cassio is saying that, that I like not that. It means that he has not approved the situation. ये मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा जो मैंने अभी जस्ट देखा. क्या नहीं अच्छा लगा कि कैशियो आ रहा है, रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा है डेस्डेमोना को. डेस्डेमोना हो सकता है मान भी जाए, उसका उसका पोजीशन वापस मिल जाए. तो ये सब मुझे अच्छा तो नहीं लग रहा है, बट ऑब्वियसली मेरे दिमाग में कुछ और ही चल रहा है. आई हैव मोर प्लान्स, आई हैव मोर सच कनिंग प्लान्स, जिसकी वजह से इससे भी ज़्यादा कुछ बुरा होने वाला है. सो एक sarcastic वे में बोलता है, आई लाइक नॉट दैट. Okay, Othello took no great notice of what he said, and because Iago had said this in a very low voice, it's written now, said in a low voice, so that is why Othello took no great notice of what he said. Means Othello को पता नहीं चला. ठीक है. Indeed, the conference which immediately took place with this lady put out of his head, but he remembered it afterwards. अभी इसका क्या मतलब है? Othello does not pay attention to Iago's comment. He did not pay attention to Iago's comment because it was in a very low voice. And at this moment, because he is engaged in the conversation with Desdemona. And because, why has he come to the room? Why? The conference which immediately took place. Conference मतलब क्या होता है? The conversation. The conversation which just took place with his lady. And here Othello was talking to his lady Desdemona. And that is why he was just having a talk with her. So that is why he did not hear what Iago has said. And also he did not hear because it was in a very low voice. And because he was engaged at that particular time. So he was just talking to the lady. He was not hearing anything that was running in the background. For when Desdemona was gone, Iago, as if for mere satisfaction of his thought, questioned Othello whether Michael Cassio, when Othello was courting his lady, knew of his love. And here he just, Iago has just, he just arises the conversation with Othello, asking that, Master, is it like Michael Cassio was there all the time, even when you were in the courting period with your lady? I'm just asking, just wanted to know. Who is this? Iago is asking Othello. Alright, see the meaning is given over here. After Desdemona leaves the room, Iago, out of just curiosity, asks Othello if Cassio was aware of Othello's love for Desdemona during the courtship. To this, general answering in the affirmative. Affirmative means he says yes. He says in positive manner. Means he replies positively that yes. And adding that he had gone between them very often. Very often means a lot of times during the courtship. Means Cassio has been acted as a mediator between Othello and Desdemona, and that too many a times. Iago knitted his brow. Knitted means he raised his eyebrows. Brow is eyebrows. As if he had got fresh light on some terrible matter. As if he had got some suggestions that he can further use in his plans. He had just got to know that Cassio was there all the time. Cassio even used to go in the courtship period and all. So he will use all this against Cassio now. As if he had got some fresh light. Fresh light in the sense, just write down suggestion on some terrible matter. On something that is going to happen and which will be extremely bad. and cried, indeed. Indeed means so true. Okay. Like this, he reacts. This brought into Othello's mind. What is this brought to the Othello's mind? This brought into Othello's mind the words which Iago had let fall upon entering the room and seeing Cassio with Desdemona. And he began to think there was some meaning to all this. Now, when Iago had reacted in such a manner, he was just raising his eyebrows and he was kind of like, oh, like this, truly. Like this, he was reacting. So Othello did not find it positive. Okay, he was just thinking in his mind and he was thinking like, ये रूम में जब आया था ना तो भी इसने कुछ कहा था वो भी और फिर ये रिएक्शन कुछ ठीक नहीं लग रहा something is there that is not right. Who thought this? Othello. And he began to think that there was some meaning to all this. And then he thought that Iago's not reacting all this just like that. He tries to say something. These all mean something. For he deemed Iago to be a just man and full of love and honesty. For he deemed Iago in the sense, for he trusts Iago and believes him to be honest and a lovable man. And what is false name would be tricks. What is false name would be tricks in him seem to be the natural workings of an honest mind, big with something too great for utterance. So this paragraph is important. Just go word to word and line to line, okay? I'll explain. And what in a false name would be tricks. It's saying the reality of Iago. That what in a false knave. Knave in the sense, Iago is such a dishonest and unscrupulous man. Unscrupulous in the sense, dishonest only, okay? I'll say the spelling. UNSCRUPLOUS. Unscrupulous man. That, he is just trying to be using his tricks and all. But in him seemed to be, him is Othello. In Othello, it seemed to be the natural workings of an honest mind. It seemed to Othello that Iago is very honest and he's just being honest over here. He is not at all using his tricks and all because obviously Othello didn't know the reality of Iago. And he thought that maybe there is something which is too great for utterance. Maybe there is something that Iago is not uttering from his mouth because maybe that is a very big matter that Iago doesn't want to say directly. But there is something too great for utterance. Utterance in the sense, too great to utter, too great to say to anybody. Othello prayed Iago. Prayed Iago in the sense, what is the meaning of prayed? Prayed in the sense, requested Iago to speak his mind, to speak what he knew, and to give his thoughts, words. And this is very important. And here, the Shakespeare is just trying to say that here Iago will give his worst thoughts, means unpleasant thoughts and weirdest thoughts would be now put into words by Iago. Understood till here? And here, just read the last line in the video. This passage illustrates the early stages of Iago's manipulation. Here, we have actually seen that Iago had started manipulating Othello's trust and the initiations. Can you tell me what is the meaning of this? It means that Cassio, whatever he was saying indirectly, whatever he was trying to suggest or hint, will eventually lead to Othello's jealousy and downfall. Alright. Here, we have come to the next paragraph. And what, said Iago, if some thoughts very vile in the sense, very unpleasant, very bad, should have entered into my breast, means chest, uninvitedly. Okay, that thoughts were not welcomed, but it has entered uninvitedly, as were the palace into which foul things do not enter. And I don't think so that is if there is any place where foul things do not enter. Foul things do not enter in the sense, these thoughts are very common and a person may doubt. A person can have such unpleasant thoughts. It's very usual. He continues to say, see the point number 2. Then Iago went on to say, what a pity it were. Means, what a pity, what a shame it is. If any trouble should arise, if any trouble arises in the mind of Othello due to Iago's imperfect observations. Out of his in the sense, Iago's imperfect observations means doubts. बोल रहा है कि हो सकता है मास्टर मेरी वजह से आपके माइंड में कुछ, मतलब हो सकता है आपका माइंड डिस्टर्ब हो जाए, कुछ ऐसी बातें होती हैं जिससे आपका पीस ऑफ माइंड फिर मेंटेन्ड ना रहे. That it would not be for Othello's peace to know his thoughts. His in the sense again is Iago's. बोल रहा है it won't be for your peace of mind to know my thoughts. That people good names were not to be taken away for slightest suspicions. And he's saying that people who are so good in front of you, master, Othello को बोल रहा है that people who are so good in front of you, master, their good names should not be taken away. उनका जो नाम है वो ख़राब नहीं होना चाहिए मेरे डाउट्स की वजह से. मैं नहीं चाहता कि ऐसा कुछ हो. And here Othello's curiosity was raised, and here Othello has become extremely curious to know what has happened, almost to distraction, almost in a state of confusion. Write down the meaning of distraction, confusion, with these hints and scattered words. Like Iago is not saying what exactly the whole matter is. He's just in a scattered manner, right? Like bit by bit he's saying something, then he's saying something. So for Othello it is very difficult to understand what he's trying to say. Now Othello has grown extremely curious and worried. Iago, as if in earnest care for Othello's peace of mind, besought him to be aware of jealousy. With such art did his villain raise suspicions in the unguarded Othello, by the very caution which he pretended to give up against suspicion. So, line by line, word to word I will go. Here Iago just pretend to be very much, to be genuinely caring for Othello. So he says, as with earnest care for Othello's peace of mind, that he really genuinely cares for Othello's peace of mind, besought him in the sense, makes him aware, just warns him to be aware of jealousy. With such art did this villain raise suspicions. And he was saying this using such art of language and vocal power, means वो ऐसे कह रहा था, as if it has raised a lot of suspicions in the unguarded Othello. Unguarded Othello in the sense, Othello was not at all using his mind. Okay, he was absolutely trusting Iago. So here, Othello's suspicions and doubts were raising by the very caution in the sense, even if Iago was trying to make Othello careful of all the thoughts and all, even then Othello was getting worried and anxious, which he pretended to give him against suspicion. And now Othello was absolutely manipulated, and he was feeling some kind of suspicion in his heart. Doubt. Suspicion means doubt. I'll go with this line again. By the very caution. Caution in the sense warning. अभी हमने देखा कि यागो ने वार्न किया था कि बी अवेयर ऑफ जेलसी. बट हम जब किसी को इतनी सारी बातें कह देंगे तो क्या इंसान सोचने में मजबूर नहीं हो जाएगा, राइट? सो अथेलो इज़ नाउ फोर्स टू थिंक कि नहीं यार कुछ तो बात है. नो, यू आर सेइंग टू बी अवेयर ऑफ जेलसी नहीं, बट देयर इज़ समथिंग which he pretended to give him against suspicion, which Iago pretended to give Othello against doubts. Against doubts in the sense, he was giving Othello, was actually warning also, and he was then giving Othello some portions of doubts and confusion, which had kind of manipulated Othello's mind. I know, said Othello, that my wife is fair, loves company and feasting, is fair of speech, sings, plays, and dances well. But where virtue is, these qualities are virtuous. I must have proof before I think her dishonest. So here Othello has said it all by himself. अपने आप ही सब कुछ कह देता है. And here he says that, maybe Iago, that you are saying something about my wife, but let me tell you that my wife, I know, is very beautiful. That my wife is fair. Fair means beautiful. And now he just acknowledges all the positive qualities of his wife by saying, I know my wife loves company and loves feasting in the sense that sort of party and all. Is free of speech, means she is very honest in her speech. She doesn't think twice before speaking anything or speaking to someone. She sings well, she plays well, she dances well. But where virtue is, where virtue in the sense where the positive qualities are. These qualities are virtuous. Virtuous in the sense moral. Okay. So he uses the word but over here. But virtuous qualities are, and these qualities are very nice, very moral. Okay. And he actually respects his wife for all these qualities and all, loves his wife actually. But he then says that I must have proof before I think her dishonest. Then I must have some proofs before I consider her as a dishonest woman. Then Iago, as glad that Othello was slow to believe ill of his lady. Now Iago has become extremely happy. He is saying that I did not speak your wife's name. I did not even utter her name. That is, even then, you had just put forward your wife's qualities and something. And you are even saying that if you have some proofs and all, you can even doubt your wife, even if you love her so much. Then I think this is a good time to, to prank and to manipulate Othello in the name of his wife. Then Iago, as if glad that Othello was slow to believe ill of his lady, ill means bad about his lady, frankly declared that he had no proof. Now, at present moment, obviously, Iago does not have any proof and all. He will later on work for it. But as of now, he just says that, no, master, I don't have any such proofs, it's fine. But begged Othello to observe her behavior well when Cassio was by. But begged Othello. Begged in the sense, he was just requesting Othello, who was requesting, Iago was requesting Othello to observe her behavior, to observe Desdemona's behavior whenever she is with Cassio. He just gives Othello a suggestion that, master, I'm just letting you know that just take care of your wife, just keep your eyes upon her whenever Cassio is around her. Not to be jealous, nor too secure either. Means you don't need to get jealous, over jealous, master. Nor do you want to get too secure. Nor do you need to trust your wife absolutely. For that, Iago knew the dispositions of the Italian's lady. Iago knew the dispositions in the sense, nature or behavior. He knew the nature or behavior of the Italian ladies, his countrywoman, better than Othello could do. And he says that, master, I knew what is the real behavior and manners of Italian ladies, his countrywoman, because he belongs to that place only. And he knew their behavior better than Othello, because Othello is the one who belongs to which background? Venetian background. And Iago has actually belonged to Italy. So that is why he knew that Italian ladies, how they are actually. And he just make Othello aware. And that is when the wives let heaven see many pranks they dare not show their husbands. So here, Iago implies that Venetian women hide their true potential unfaithful behavior from their husbands. It means that in Venice, the wives let heaven see many pranks. It means in Venice, because Desdemona was the Venice lady, right? So that is why he was saying that he had knew how Italian ladies are. And Othello has Italian ladies. But he has seen that in Venice, women are very much capable of hiding the truth from their husbands. And they are unfaithful. See this line? And that in Venice, the wives let heaven see many pranks. See many pranks in the sense they hide the truth. They are unfaithful. And they do not show this behavior easily to their husbands. They are very cunning and they hide the truth from their husbands. So this is a remark said by Iago about Venetian ladies. And when he is speaking about Venetian lady, he is indirectly speaking about Desdemona. Then he artfully initiated that Desdemona deceived her father in marrying with Othello. Then he artfully means very with full of tricks and all. He tries to hint Othello, insinuated. What's the meaning of insinuated? Hints, suggests Desdemona, about Desdemona, that she had also deceived her father in marrying with Othello and carried it so closely, and she did it so nicely. It seemed that Othello had done some witchcraft and all. उसने इतने अच्छे से अपने फादर के सामने अपनी बातें प्रेजेंट की, ऐसा लगता है कि Othello ने कोई witchcraft किया होगा, जो Brabantio ने बोला था पहले, right? You all remember that Brabantio had said this earlier, that maybe Othello had done some witchcraft and all. So when your wife is so good, she had took your stand so nicely in front of her father that it seemed that she had done some witchcraft and all. and that the poor old man thought that witchcraft had been used. Poor old man is Rabancho. Your wife is so good that her father thought that you had done some witchcraft and all, right? Your wife is too good to be true. And here he declares that Venetal ladies are actually unfaithful and they play a lot of pranks. Othello was much moved with this argument, and Othello was much convinced, moved in the sense much convinced with this argument, in the sense with this point that Desdemona has even betrayed her father while marrying to Othello, and so she can even deceive him. She can even betray Othello, which brought the matter home to him. Which brought the matter home to him. Home to him in the sense he had understood the whole matter, which brought the matter understood by him. For if she had deceived her father, why might she not deceive her husband? अगर वो अपने फादर को बिट्रे कर सकती है तो अपने हस्बैंड को क्यों नहीं कर सकती? ऑब्वियसली अपने हस्बैंड को भी वो कर सकती है. Okay, so I have completed this part of the video, fifth part of the video. Just go line by line, word to word, and then come to the next, that is the sixth part of the video. Okay, see ya, bye.